look at any financial product for a moment. Nobody wants to hear about how much money you're about to make.
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody is going to sit in front of a screen and go, "Oh, I want to buy this product because Dacia made all this money on this financial product." There's no world where that works. But if I put the story behind Dacia and her family and what she did with the money and how she grew her family or grew her business because of this financial product, I'm going to have a little bit more interest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, without giving away the secret sauce and still relying as you to be the hero, you, the company, what can we do as a creative strategy for content?
Yeah.
And a lot of solutions come from that. And then the stories behind it.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Marketing Blender. I'm Dacia Coffey, and joining me today is Sina Azmoudeh, one of our brilliant fractional chief marketing officers. And I love when he gets to co-host because holy cow, this man's thinking and creativity is all over the board. He won't tell you this, so I'm going to go ahead. He's an award-winning filmmaker. He has the widest range of creative background in regards to marketing and has been an entrepreneur multiple times over. And he is our quick win warrior. Sina, you're amazing at turning
that was
around.
Amazing.
But you're amazing at deploying fast wins for clients.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was super excited, because today I'm going to have Sina share with you why he's so good at quick wins and fast ROI by talking about how to build high converting B2B marketing funnels. So funnels.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Next time, you're my hype man from now on. Every bar.
That is definitely one of my secret powers.
Yeah, Dacia is hired. High conversion funnels is in huge demand, more now than ever. Every partner, every organization that we talk to or work with always has a way to benefit from either an improvement or setting up, utilizing a lot of the team members you already have under this roof, and taking my background, which is film and marketing and top of funnel awareness, and kind of creating that superpower that we have. Shout out Marketing Blender. So the real value in this, and I think every organization that's going to be watching this, is how do I create more interest?
Yeah.
There's no conversation in America that is not looking at that, right? Yeah. And we all know that starts with top of funnel awareness, which is content, right? How do we create more content?
Yep.
And the good analogy there is look at every non-content company in America today that's hyper-focusing on content. Amazon, right? They sell groceries and product. They bought Amazon Prime, right? They started a network of content. Look at AT&T. They bought DirecTV. Look at Apple TV. Every organization is trying to find a way to win awareness and win attention.
Yes.
And this is what we call the battle for the war on attrition and attention. And how do I create an engagement level that makes sense? Now, those are all fancy words, and a CEO is like, yeah, like, I get it. We need more eyeballs. How does that make me money, right? How does that make
Can it
sales?
buy me a beer? Is what one of our clients says.
Can it buy me a beer? And if you look at all the successful individuals and companies that have created a conversion funnel that starts with good content and ends with a sale, it's a very simple model of keeping that attention throughout each stage. From awareness, right, that top of funnel awareness, I raise my hand, I'm curious, to the mid-funnel, okay, now I'm interested, the aha, and creating that mid-level education primarily to show me the money, right? Yep. What is this moment where I'm engaged, I can bring you value as a business, and you, the consumer, agrees that there's value here. And from top to bottom, this is the primary objective of 2025 for most organizations, either setting it up or making it high conversion. And, high PPC ads, click ads, YouTube ads, so on, all the way down to, how do we create and not leak any of these leads throughout the process? And, CRM and everything comes into play.
Yeah, exactly. Now, real quick, you guys, when Sina's talking about conversion, there's multiple places of conversion, right? So we can be talking about converting interest into inquiry or inquiry into qualified sales meetings. You can even back that up by thinking about how do we convert lack of awareness. So this is a stranger into somebody that now has curiosity, and that didn't even exist before. So when you're thinking conversion, there's a lot of different definitions, and that's why he's talking about full life cycle return on investment, which is really exciting. And it's also why you are a very strong advocate for a higher volume of content, and that people, one of the topics I love when you talk about is when people go wrong, especially B2B companies, picking perfectionism over getting the word out at higher volume.
Yeah, that good mantra right now that I keep leaning on, and this is primarily for me, but organizations that think like me, is shots on target. That perfectionism will get in your way of volume, which will get in your way of traditional marketing today being successful. You cannot succeed with one trailer.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
I don't know of many organizations that release one piece of content and it creates enough top of funnel awareness to grow. So there's a commitment to content that you have to really look at and go, okay, is my organization have a true and authentic commitment to making it a core fundamental of my company?
Yeah.
And you have to really pause there and go, okay, yes and no, or yes, and this is what our strategy is. And until you can really organize your thought as an organization or a company and go, yes, this is what we're doing, and I believe in it, it will create enough demand, then you can start looking at the rest of the funnel.
Yeah.
But that top of funnel awareness, who are we? Why do consumers care? Why do businesses care to work with us? And is it true to our mission and vision? And really buying into that strategy is the first step.
Yeah. No, you're amazing at crafting really compelling narratives, even if our clients themselves think their products or services are boring. What makes a really interesting top of the funnel narrative? Because, you mentioned talking about who we are, but we see too many companies trying to put out content like we're the best or we're amazing, but you're not talking about content that is boring people. So what does not boring content look like?
Okay, so let's just keep it simple.
Yeah.
And that is the strategy, is keep it simple. And the organizations that truly create compelling material that transitions to potential clients in almost every situation is a form of education.
Yeah.
It's how can I, the organization, teach you something of value, wherein by you see me of value or of some position to extend a hand. And every organization has that story, whether it's the founder story, whether it's the product story or the review or the testimonial or whatever it is. It's almost a form of education at all facets.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only other genre of content that works top of funnel is entertainment. And usually that comes in the form of, like we said, a good story or a stat, right? And that's how our brains work.
Yep.
And that's why we perk up to something. The volume is outrageous, right? You're competing with volume. You go through social media, you go through email, you go through seminars, webinars, LinkedIn's. Just stop for a second and think of all the influences we have in our life right now. Even if you're not a techie.
Yeah.
Like the amount of influences is insane.
Yeah.
So how does I, the company, stand out? And in most situations, it's that story. It's that creative merit that you bring that involves the education.
Yeah. Exactly. I think one of the most powerful things about story for me is that when you think about how the brain works and even how our hearts work, when you listen to a story, when you see a story, you put yourself in that character's role. All of a sudden it becomes very personal. Even if you're talking about a 30-second, trailer, all of a sudden you feel that, you're experiencing that. And I feel like when you do that really well in the top of a funnel, that becomes real for somebody.
Yeah.
We talk about resonant content, and too often, people are still stuck on this product and feature type of mentality, or they're trying to say, oh, we've got a better mousetrap. But instead, if it's the journey or the transformation story or an aha moment around why this is important that exists. So the story behind the product, the story behind, then all of a sudden that person is saying, wow, I understand that, or I get that, or I've been on a similar path myself, or I am on a similar path. And you're telling my story back to me.
Right.
That's when people are like, wow, I'm paying attention to that.
There's some good examples of that too. Like look at any financial product for a moment. Nobody wants to hear about how much money you're about to make.
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody is going to sit in front of a screen and go, oh, I want to buy this product because Dacia made all this money on this financial product. There's no world where that works. But if I put the story behind Dacia and her family and what she did with the money and how she grew her family or grew her business because of this financial product, I'm going to have a little bit more interest.
Yeah.
There's also another angle to this, and it's the Mr. Pool Guy story. Do you know this one?
No.
Okay, so the Mr. Pool Guy story is interesting, and I'll keep it short. Mr. Pool Guy owned a pool cleaning service. No commitment to content, was just cleaning pools, but got big enough and understood the dynamics of chlorine and the facets of how to clean a pool correctly, to the point where he was like, wait a minute, I can make more money with a brick and mortar selling chlorine and pool tools than I can cleaning pools.
Yeah.
Great. Sets up a brick and mortar, sets up a storefront, a physical storefront, and comes to a very quick realization that it's not that easy. My skill set did not transfer to selling chlorine as it did as me cleaning the pools. So on his way out, he decided, you know what? Forget this whole industry. He had all this weird competition, had all these issues, legal lawsuits too. And he was like, you know what? I am going to leave this industry by releasing all the secrets. Starts a YouTube channel, starts to create how-to videos on how to clean your pool, what chlorine to use, what material makes sense, trade secrets. And all of a sudden, subscriptions, views, awareness, interest. And in his holding of content and secrets and releasing that material as education, as a marketing front, he didn't know it was a marketing front.
Right.
People are coming into the store. Oh, hey, Mr. Pool Guy, I hear you're good at yada, yada. I see you as a hero to my pool, right? Same issue resolved in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think that approach to many people is a very simple content strategy. What's your trade secret? How much of it can we give it away?
Yeah.
Now, without giving away the secret sauce and still relying as you to be the hero, you, the company, what can we do as a creative strategy for content?
Yeah.
And a lot of solutions come from that. And then the stories behind it.
Yeah.
Now, without giving away the secret sauce and still relying as you to be the hero, you, the company, what can we do as a creative strategy for content?
Yeah.
And a lot of solutions come from that. And then the stories behind it.
Are you a CEO of a business-to-business company? Maybe you're a sales leader or a salesperson, or maybe you're in business-to-business marketing. Well, if so, I wrote a book for you, and it's called Corporate Caffeine. Business-to-business marketing is different, but there are certain predictable fundamental principles that will help you unleash your organizational potential and fill your pipeline sustainably. So you can find my book on Audible, on Amazon, on barnesandnoble.com, or any of your favorite retailers. Hope you enjoy it, and I'd love to hear your feedback. I remember the moment in our business where I decided to, and it was with the book and with the podcast and everything, where it was
what we're doing?
Exactly. I was like, we're just going to tell everybody what we do. Marketing is critically important to everyone. Growth and success. And, from a cultural perspective, we believe in prosperity for all. Okay, that means all. Not just our clients, not just the people that paid us, not just us, but okay. And, it was amazing because while it was scary and thinking, a different agency or other marketers could deploy this, I thought, well, good for them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And also there is a lot to be said for being the originators of the frameworks, like that halo effect, to our team of what we've built together.
Absolutely.
And then people believe it and they don't want a copycat. And if they don't, they do, that's okay. But, believing that there's enough pie to go around, because there is, and just the mentality that being a generous spirit actually can create more success for you, not less. I mean, I am such a big proponent of give away as much as you possibly can, because it will be returned to you tenfold. And we see it all the time when clients decide to be brave and really offer what's special about them. It is so believable and it's so interesting.
Yeah, it's a good way to do a content strategy when looking at a funnel. And to keep it on topic of the funnel, how do you feel about ad spend? Where do you think the world is going with that? And I'll share my perspective as well.
So I think ad spend is super important in a couple different places. I think fast wins when the data shows that we can target specifically, and that we've done amazing stories and we've got the right content, like let's get in front of them faster.
Yeah.
So I think that's critically important when the data shows. I like reaching volumes of strangers when we can't, because it's just faster. So that's top of the funnel. Once you're really trying to expand your brand reach and you've got a story worth listening to.
Yep.
And then after that, it just depends. It depends on the access to the market. I think that's always what it's about for me. like the access to the market and what's the problem we're trying to solve. I don't know. What do you think?
I've had my major successes in the marketing consulting world for me has come from YouTube ads.
Yeah.
And it's primarily because YouTube has become such a high intense consumer viewership.
Yeah.
Right? You're not flicking through Meta, Facebook.
Nope.
You're not Google searching with one specific thing in mind. YouTube is a little bit more, not a little bit, highly engaged consumers with a targeting system inside Google that is run by AI, Gemini. The metrics and analytics of servicing an ad for a fishing pole to making sure it is derived and placed in front of people looking for fishing poles, likely willing to buy fishing poles, is outrageously accurate.
Yep.
So the cost is going up, but the targeting and the ROI of ad spend is becoming more and more magnificent.
Totally agree.
If you have good content.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big if.
Agreed.
A lot of people will take a stab and just do a selfie video or something with low production value. Some of that works, but and the extent of their intention and demand of it doesn't reach it, so they just wash it away. And it's
not thinking, was it worthy? Did I give somebody something they would want to watch?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, if you pay attention to the videos on YouTube, the ads, the first 3 seconds, these folks are brilliant. They're brilliant. And people don't realize how intentional.
Oh, yeah.
Even the selfie videos. Right. There is a reason they showed a specific version of that person or doing that. Or, I mean, everything is so intentional.
Yeah.
Because they've learned, whether by data or whether by study and just expertise, that gets people's attention. And people will keep watching instead of hitting the skip button. It's
I'm laughing.
Fascinating.
I'm laughing because I totally agree with you. We have a guy in the insurance space who does home insurance.
Yeah.
And he lives in Florida. So every time there's a storm in Miami Beach, right, he goes outside his house and he looks like he's in a hurricane.
Yes.
And he's like, do you need home insurance today? And it's just like wind and like all that, but it's like super engaging, like train wreck.
Exactly.
And I was just like, man, the most basic marketing strategy sometimes.
It works.
Yeah, I'm just like, I've been doing this all wrong.
I know. But it's getting people's attention.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about attention grabbing content, lots of examples at top of the funnel. So now let's talk, we're moving conversion from awareness down to that mid-journey component that you're talking about. So for you, how is the content changing? What are you deploying to continue to maintain return on investment? And how is that different from top of the funnel?
Okay, so consumers are more skeptical than ever too.
Yeah.
Although you'll get more impressions, more click-through rates, and more authentic demand, right? There is a educated consumer and an uneducated consumer conversation you have to have with your company. Are they in the funnel and they're educated with interest and information ready to find? Or are they clicking through because you clicked some clickbait?
Yeah.
And there's a very happy medium of educating with high intent and educating with clickbait.
Yep.
And depending on volume and budget, there's a certain amount of chess you have to play, but the only way you know is just testing it, right? Material mid-funnel should be hyper-focused on elevating the consumer's intention and education prior to this is how much it costs and this is what our offering is.
Yes.
And I think that's the hyper-focus of mid-funnel, is how educated does a consumer have to be? And you have to do the true self, evaluation of your company and go, how complex is my product?
Yeah.
How much do they need to know before they're willing to engage in a conversation of sale?
Agreed.
And it might be the whole 9 yards. You might have to spend 20 minutes for an authentic understanding of a product, and that's okay. Make sure it's available to them without you.
Exactly. We've run multi-part video series in that mid-funnel. And originally, a lot of clients go, oh my God, we're going to make somebody go through 6 or 7 touches before they even think about doing a meeting with me. Yeah, actually we are. Yeah, because they need to be ready. Otherwise, it wastes their time and your time and flushes that opportunity and that human being straight down the toilet because you disrespected the journey that they needed to go on. So I completely, and it's interesting, what you were saying brings up 2 things for me.
Yeah.
You're talking about the importance of education. And I love to frame education, especially on the B2B side, around creating progress for that buyer. Like if you're sitting with your best friend, what advice would you give them? What education would you give them?
Sure.
that legitimately progresses them towards the very best decision they could make for themselves.
Right.
And sometimes the best decision might be not yet.
Yeah.
It might be you're thinking about this wrong.
Yeah.
It might be, did you know?
Brutal truths.
Yes, exactly. But
Yeah.
what would you in integrity tell
Yeah.
your best friend to protect them?
Yeah.
And that's what provocative, great
Yeah.
educational content is not stuff that they're expecting,
Right.
but stuff that truly creates momentum and forward progress. And the second thing for me that brings this up is too often we hear clients wait and like identify qualification as a sales step. So there is an assumption there that a person is belly to belly.
Right.
We've had a meeting. I'm qualifying you as a sales prospect. If you're doing a really great high converting funnel, you are offering up certain content where that person is pre-qualifying themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're saying, here's how to know I'm ready.
Yeah.
And then the unqualified say, ooh, I'm not ready.
And some of that is a market strategy too.
Yes.
Like look at Washington Mutual. Do you make $200,000 or more? Would you like life insurance? Blah, 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 blah. Well, they just self-qualified income.
Exactly.
Right?
Talk about
Or-
ROI.
yeah.
You're only now talking and
There's
targeting people that have been like, yep, that's me.
There's also a fitness guy all over TikTok that says, do you make over $400,000 and you want shredded abs? And you're like, wait, what? How did we get?
Wait,
and then
why
and
are
then-
those the same thing?
But what's funny is he's the $400,000 guy.
Yeah.
That's his name. And that's what his market angle is. And all of his ads, his hundreds of ads on TikTok are, do you make $400,000 and want shredded abs? And then he goes into his spiel. And so, yeah, self-targeting through content, super important.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
any conversation with return on investment,
Yeah.
so appropriate. Total squirrel. The difference in guy marketing funnels versus women's marketing
This scene
funnels.
is so weird.
Like my husband Kyle and I, we will literally compare what's on each other's feeds at night because it's so ludicrous.
Algorithms are algorithms.
Exactly.
I wish there was a
Totally.
way to delete it, honestly, sometimes.
However, they're
Yeah.
there because,
Yeah.
you know, like the targeting is on
Yeah.
point or
I
mostly on
scrolled
point.
too long on like a shark video, and now all of my
Yes.
I wasn't that
Like
interested.
that was a mistake. Sorry, I take
yeah.
that back. Oh my God, exactly. So I couldn't agree more. I mean, we're literally about to put a pricing page on our website
Oh, wow.
because I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, if somebody hops on a call with us,
Yeah.
I give them pricing within the first 30 minutes because we're having a business conversation. There is no business decision where there's not budget consideration.
Yep.
And I've learned earlier is better. Be respectful. There is not a single owner
Yeah.
or entrepreneur or investor that comes and does not want to have an idea of price right up front.
Yeah, for sure.
And so just give them what they want because
Yeah.
everything else is fear-based, but then they get to self-qualify.
Yeah.
Also, they'll go, oh, okay, that's about what I was expecting. Or, whoa, they are out of their minds and I cannot afford that.
Absolutely.
Great. And now it's respectful because they learned about the market and I'm giving them components to make good decisions and to realize like, what are my options versus I have to spend an hour-long phone call with a million different people to learn the things I want to know.
Certainly.
Like, it's just not respectful.
There's another very common question I get. How many emails should I send them mid-funnel?
Oh, yeah.
Right. What's appropriate? What's not? Define nurture? Do I need a CRM? Mid-funnel is an interesting game.
Yeah.
And it's a game of don't spam me out of interest, but spam me till I'm interested.
Yeah.
Right. And let's say I'm
I love that you're saying
super engaged with a golf set. I want to buy this new Ping golf set. I clicked on it. It's the new 10K Q something series. I clicked on one ad. I'm definitely engaged. I'm not ready to buy. But if I receive like 3 or 4 emails on it, that's additional information. That's authentic. That is a good story.
Good story.
That is good material. You're not spamming me. Please send it.
Yeah. I agree.
So I think that there's that like happy medium. Now, I've also signed up for marketing classes and organizations, and even them spend way too many. Like I recently signed up, actually, funny story, for a mid-level education CMO funnel on the current stats of the world and what's going on in retail. And I received 4 webinar requests, like just a webinar schedule in one day. And I was like, no.
One day.
Yeah, you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
4 emails one day.
I'm not going to listen to you
Yeah,
if
no,
you're doing
no joke.
this. Yeah.
So like sliding scale, know your audience.
Yeah.
And that's why personas are so important.
Yeah.
When you start the journey with Blender, there's a massive importance on defining your personas, who's buying,
Yeah.
right? And that's not just what's their age and location and income level. There's a deep methodology to personas. And you'll know, like, okay, Sina's persona is willing to open up an email a day. And that's a lot. But Sina is highly engaged. He's C-level advertising,
You're a
right?
content consumer,
right.
Because you want to be. Yes.
Right. And that's okay. And I need 12 emails before I click on something to buy versus, somebody who's not. So I think that mid-level nurture campaign has been a high focus of mine, and it's changing all the time. What about you?
Completely agree. I don't think there's a set, how many emails should I send? I 100% love what you're saying about the buyer persona. We have a lot of clients that come to us and they say, well, I've already done persona work. Now we say, well, we're going to trust but verify. So send it to us and let's see. But the gap is always that even though they did the persona work, then they put it away and they never looked at it again. Now, they don't need to be looking at this every day, but they never translated it into decision-making criteria. We really are only going to target. We really are only going to talk about what these human beings care about. And there's a big, huge gap between doing a whiteboard exercise in one day and talking to the team or doing even data scrubbing and analyzing versus, wow, this is a system. Because then that system, that decision-making criteria is, oh, this is a highly, like a volatile personality that makes very crazy, quick decisions, and they would not tolerate a ton of content. Great. Then, faster call to action, more aggressive, maybe shorter type of things. We, no bait and switch. We cut the funnels off quickly, versus content consumer, and even thinking, okay, if somebody's on LinkedIn, why?
Right.
Why are they there? What are they going through? And that nurture, especially on different social media platforms where you're mid-funnel and you're looking for different types of behavior, it's 100% dependent on that psychographic. So I love what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think there is zero scenario where you ever set it and forget it.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, I wrote an email series and we're just going to let it run.
Yeah.
If you're not constantly watching that data, you will never realize like if there's an uptick or when it starts declining and now you're flushing all those opportunities down the drain because you're not paying attention. So vigilance.
Yeah, there's also a tech conversation there too. If you have a good CRM, like if you worked in an organization that has good CRM and is managing leads and managing your mid-funnel nurture, you know exactly how much time that saves you. Like if you're the person listening, you're like, yeah, that saves me a lot of time and money. And if you aren't and you're considering it, you might be at that phase where technology can really be leveraged here to manage all the relationships, put you into audience groups and buckets, manage a 12-step email chain for prospects or, prior to book a demo, these types of things.
Exactly.
And you can set it and forget it for a while.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that happy medium research you really want to do mid-funnel.
Yeah, exactly. And for the record, there is no scenario where we have ever told any client, no, you don't need a CRM. No, you don't need to graduate it into automation eventually. There is no scenario where you build a marketing system that is data driven without a technology system that is,
unless you just really want work. Yeah.
Unless you're just insane. So we do not give insane advice. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move down to bottom of the funnel. Now, how does this change for you?
This is the phase of show me the money.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's be very clear. This is show me the money. And this might be a demo phase, post-demo. This might be a product finalization, shopping cart phase.
Yep.
And it might be a retention phase. You might be in a subscription model where you're like, I want to make sure you're here for next month.
Yes.
For me, the first thing, metaphorically and physically, is the pitch deck. What is your pitch? Does your whole sales team buy into this pitch? And are you all trained to this pitch?
Yes.
Here's why. Your top of funnel marketing will strangle you if you're not in tune.
Yeah.
Because your consumers will start leaving bad reviews, right? Your consumers will start to lose trust in you. Your consumers will start to have a belief system if your top of funnel does not match your show me the money.
Yeah.
Right? That's called clickbait scam, flip and switch, bad reviews, yada, 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 right? You don't want that. So the pitch deck process should be done in tandem with your top of funnel content creation. And that's exactly what I tend to do is let's do your ad and let's do your pitch deck.
Yeah.
And the colors and the typography and the iconography and like all that should look the same, but also the authentic measure of value of what you're pitching and what you're solving is important. and keep it simple.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It can act as a takeaway. It can act as a lot of different things, as well as just the pitch deck you go over. And metaphorically, if it's not a presentation or a demo or something like that, and it's not a actual deck, it is the measure of value you're closing out with.
Yeah.
Right. What's the story? What's the stats?
Yeah. Well, that's like why in our brand message playbooks, we put messaging choreography so that you can follow how the message travels over time, over a buyer's journey, from their curiosity or their lack of knowledge about their problem, all the way through all the conversions of interest to inquiry and inquiry into client retention.
Yeah.
And so I think that's so important, like this advice that you're giving to basically document what does that full deck look like. And to your point, yes, maybe it said deck, but a lot of times that full message, and especially bottom of the funnel, okay, they hit a landing page. We know why the call to action is book a meeting. What are the expectations of the meeting? Are the salespeople perfectly aligned with the buyer's experience and what they're expecting? And that it's very consistent. It's very high level. It's still delivering value.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a follow-up. So what is the follow-up? Maybe it's a video, but all of that should be architected so as to really drive value and to show that consumer, that client, hey, we are the real deal. And if we're this good before we've formally engaged,
absolutely,
imagine what the client experience is going to be like.
And to build on that, there's one more facet that I hyper focus on with my clients is, what is your referral system right now? Okay, so let's look at your referral system. And most boomer-owned organizations, so that age group has a clear understanding of referral business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you select a restaurant if there are 3 restaurants within the same mile range and they have the same pizzas? How do you decide which one to go to? Reviews. Shocking, right?
Yeah.
If you're on Amazon and there's 3 shoes that all look the same,
always
same
reviews.
Price, same delivery time, reviews. Demographic, age, product, it does not change. Consumers today of all generations are looking at reviews. To me, that should be a primary, not only focus of going back and going, why do I have a 2-star, 3-star? Make sure you're auditing it, answering it. Google reviews are the new Yelp.
Yeah.
Amazon reviews obviously is huge if you're selling a product. But even organizations like sales agencies and insurance, or B2B, plumbers, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
Reviews matter. Like if they cannot find a review on you, you are authentically a scam.
Yeah.
Right. So don't fall into that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's a perfect reason why when we talk about return on investment, we talk about revenue, obviously, but we talk about reputation.
Yeah.
And then we talk about resilience, because there is a virtuous or an anticlimactic cycle happening there. And, and it's also why we're really intentional about saying reputation and not just brand.
Right.
Because you're building an ecosystem and there's pre-assumptions about what brand deployment is, but you've got to steward the broader reputation. And sometimes it is word of mouth and not, creative assets that you can deploy, but you still need to have a system of accountability around them. I love that.
Yeah. And it ties back to top of funnel. If your review system's really good, you can market to it.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Check out our 10,000 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
Like, how great is that?
Exactly.
So there's certainly a belief system that creates awareness, interest, mid-funnel education, and bottom of funnel if you just hyper focus on the perspective of what your consumers see you as a business.
Yeah.
And in today's world, they've made it so easy.
Yeah.
It's Google reviews
or
whatever review system is in your genre. But bottom funnel is the show me the money deck, and certainly what your referral and review system looks like.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's important also to think about how you build it versus how people experience it. And this is really important in regards to effective return on investment. So we always say, we got to get the word out there. We got to get our name out there, which is awareness, and then nurture, and then bottom of the funnel and closing, or, referral, right? So a long-term client delight. But that's not how you build it. Because if you start by building up here, but you have nothing to formally make sure that your win-loss ratio is solid and that you can deliver value at the bottom, then all of that investment at the top is for nothing. So it's very important that we choreograph the whole funnel. We imagine what it's like in completion, but we always reverse engineer. we always build from the bottom, because if you pour water into a leaky bucket, well, you're just losing lots of water. And we don't want that to happen with your marketing, advertising investments. So I think that's always one of my final things, is that we speak in terms of how the market experiences the marketing. That's critical.
Yeah.
It's not how we build it.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Final thought, if you ever run like a podcast or something, make sure you have a monkey on your desk. It helps.
Exactly. Especially with a narrative. Well, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And Sina, thank you so much for being on.
Thank
This
you.
is so much fun.
Super fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. If you've got questions for Sina, you can find him on LinkedIn, on our website. You can post comments in this YouTube channel. Imagine that. We would love to engage with you and find out how can we help you get more return on investment out of your B2B marketing funnels. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, tell your neighbor, tell your boss, tell your friend, tell anyone.
Can
We're
I say
here.
that? Can I do that too? Hey, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. I've always wanted to do that.
Yes. So make his dream come true. Just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, onward and upward, and we'll see you next week.